Hello everyone, we're going to go ahead and take a look at a different technique of how to create our construction blocks in Fusion 360. This is using a little bit more of what they call a top-down modeling method. So if you look at some of my other videos, I do a bottom-up modeling method where every block has its own design file. So right now we're going to have an untitled design file, and I'm going to create multiple models within this, or components. I should probably refer to the terms that Fusion uses quite a bit. And we're going to go ahead and create those here in the video. So I'm going to go ahead and start off first with our cube shape. And I'm going to go up here to create and select new component. So in order to do this, over in the menu, I'm going to change the name to cube. And then everything else, so it will be a standard component. It's going to be internal, means it's going to be inside of this design, and it is going to become active once I select OK. So what you're going to see is that cube component is now the active component, and the top level of your assembly now has two blocks, meaning that there's more than one component in this one file. So now here is that one. So now I can go ahead and create a sketch, choose the front work plane, just to show off, and just like how I've done in some of the other videos, I'm going to go ahead and select the line tool, start on the origin, and I'm going to draw the outline of the cube. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw a rectangular shape. You're going to see there's some tracking lines that when you get close to the origin, like a blue dash line that will show, and even some snap kind of features that help keep your line straight. So this will go through and help me maintain the profile. But I'll go ahead and draw that shape. I'm going to grab the sketch dimension tool. And if you're looking for or cannot find some of these, so you can always click on the create panel name, and from the drop down select sketch dimension. So I'll select this line. The height on this is going to be 1 1/8 inches, and the width on this, and if you notice I'm just typing 1 space 1/8 and hitting enter, and Fusion is going through and doing a lot of the work for me as far as creating the decimal version of that measurement that we have. I'm going to select finish sketch. Now I can go ahead and select extrude. The only profile shape will be here. This little short menu bar will pop up as far as typing in a value or a distance, and same thing in this menu as well. Either place will do that. I'm going to do the exact same thing, 1 space 1/8, and go ahead and hit enter, and that will go through and create my cube. So if you click on the modify panel, you can go down to appearance, and in this appearance menu, once it loads, we can go ahead. There's actually two scroll bars. There's one here on the right side that will scroll all the way down. There's another one that will scroll through the various folders. So I'm going to find the paint folder, click on it, and I like to use the glossy, so you can choose another color if you would like. But I go ahead and selected that folder. You may have to download some of the colors, like for example I'm going to go with green, so if I click the little download arrow, that will download the appearance now for us to be able to use. And I just drag and drop onto the model, and that will give it the appearance. So I'm going to go ahead and select close. And from here, I can go ahead and I'm going to hit the save button. For this particular file, I'm going to go ahead and just call this with my last name, and we'll call this construction blocks, since we're going to have all the construction blocks inside of this file. I'll go ahead and select save. And for the sake of kind of some continuity, I'm going to break this up maybe by the different types of rectangular blocks that we have, or maybe even the types of construction blocks. So I'm going to go ahead and keep going. The biggest thing is right now the cube is the active component. I want to go all the way up here to the top, and I want to activate the top level, because now I'm done with the cube. So the next thing that I want to bring in is create a new component. And in this one, I want to call this the rectangular prism. Now, the thing is your cube is going to still stay kind of silhouetted here a little bit. And either one of two things. Either I can hide the cube by clicking on the eyeball icon. So that'll be like creating another one, which is kind of what I like to do, because then I can constrain to the origin and everything. So I'm going to go ahead, once I do that, I can create a sketch, choose my front work plane. For this one, I'm going to choose a 2-point rectangle. So again, if you go to create, go down to rectangle, choose 2-point rectangle. You can always select it that way. Select the origin. I'm going to go ahead and draw. Now as it's drawing, you'll notice that I've got a blue highlighted icon there for a dimension. So I'm going to go ahead and just type that in as I'm drawing. So I'm going to do 2 5/16. I'm going to press the tab key on my keyboard to move to the other dimension box. That's going to be 1 1/8, just like the cube measurements that we had. And I'm going to select enter once I have those, and it's going to automatically input those dimensions. That's fully constrained, so I can go ahead and say finish the sketch. Select extrude. This is going to be 1 1/8, and I can go ahead and hit enter or select OK. So same kind of scenario. All of my construction blocks had a certain appearance. If you want to make them different appearances, that is perfectly okay. So I'm going to download blue just to show a different color. Drop that on there and hit close. I'm going to go ahead and select the save button just for the sake of making sure that I don't lose any work. Same kind of scenario. If I go through and if I turn the cube back on, you're going to see, because they both kind of exist in the same position, both these components are right there. Now the benefit is you could always drag this component out, then that way that it is there. Now you'll see this one's still kind of transparent, so I'm going to go ahead and activate the top level, and then you'll see both of these are kind of there. So now here's our kind of the front of where our cubes are, or our blocks. So let me go ahead and move this into place here. But you can see there's where those are located. Now when I'm ready, since I've got the top level already active, I'm going to go ahead and finish out with the other two rectangular shapes, and I'm going to do that by I'm going to hide the cube in the rectangular prism. Again, making sure that my top level is active. Click create, choose new component, and this one I'm going to call this the short thin block. So trying to give it something descriptive. I can select OK, and now that that's the active component, I can create the sketch, choose my work plane. They're going to ask if this message pops up. We do want to capture the position because we moved some components, and that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a 2-point rectangle. The height on this one is going to be very similar to our rectangular prism. So 2 5/16. Tab over. The width is the same, 1 1/8. I can go ahead and finish the sketch. Extrude. This is going to be only 1/2 inch thick, and I'll select OK. Can grab an appearance. And let's choose yellow just to give it something a little different. So there's our short thin block. Again, I'm going to select save just to make sure that I've got everything saved. And again, if you choose the top level assembly file, turn on the visibility to both of these, you'll see here you can move your thin block if you wish. But that's kind of what's going on there as far as bringing those kind of into play. Space those out just a little bit. Okay. All right, last one. Again, top level's active. I'm going to go ahead and hide these other three for right now. Sometimes they can get in the way. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new component. This one will be the tall thin block. And just to show this process, again, create the sketch, select your work plane. Again, capture the position because we did move that short thin block. I'm going to use a 2-point rectangle. This one I'm going to purposely just kind of draw it, and then you can also go through and again the other option is to grab the sketch dimension. I'll choose the height. This was 3.5 inches tall, and this is 1 1/8 inch wide. I'm going to finish the sketch. And this one has the same depth as the last block that we had. It's 1/2 inch. And we can go ahead and grab an appearance to put on there. We'll make this one red. Again, if we activate the top level, we can go through and see where we're at. Again, if we need to just move these Move the blocks. Sometimes I like to do that just so that way we can see where those are at. And you can see I'm just using the view cube to rotate between the front and the right view just to kind of line them up. It's not really, you don't have to be real particular, but I like to go through and just kind of show those. So, all right, at this point, make sure you select save. I'm going to go ahead and end the video. So just to show, this is how to create the rectangular kind of shapes. In the next video, we'll take a look at the triangular blocks, and then I'll probably do a third video for the more circular objects. But this is kind of how to model these in top-down kind of modeling method.